Hi, it's DC. I am an MLM dropout, and I am so happy to be here tonight. It is definitely a little late, and we're going to be talking about some fun things. If you're new here, I am a graphic designer by day and amateur commentator by night. And sometimes on the weekends, I like to go live and talk to you a little bit about everything. Um, my whole goal is to help you fight exploitation, decode manipulation, and equip your empathy through education. I try to expose cults and multi level marketing, deceptive practices, and just in general BS. Sometimes I use cursey words, so if you're free range listening, be sure to grab those headphones if you need them. Um, Let me just turn this down. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm still new, so a little bit of this, sometimes a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are going to be looking at sales training by Jenna Zwagil. And if I butcher names, I'm so sorry. This is how you spell her name, Jenna. Her last name is Zwagil. She is the founder or co-founder of HempWorx, and she currently, I think, is the marketing director for another company, but that's not really that's not the focus of tonight. We are looking at one of her sales trainings that she has put together, and I think going through it and addressing it will really help you identify situations that you might run into and prevent you possibly, as we look at all this, from maybe getting sucked into something that you weren't wanting to. I believe that the training is manipulative, and in the way that some of the things are said. I'm not saying that all closing training is manipulative, but it's just nice to be aware so you can be prepared. And one of the very interesting things when I was looking up Jenna, she is a public figure. She is the owner of a company. She's been on the covers of magazines. All of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is freely available on the internet, and I'm going to be commenting on it. So it is free for fair use. Let's see. Share screen. Here's the interesting thing. I'm going to show you her book she wrote last year that it published last year. And at the very top, you might see something interesting. It says, how the number one female earner in network marketing rose to the top. And when you look on Business for Home, she's also listed as one of the top earners. But if you've been around the multi-level marketing or anti-multi-level marketing content, you know someone else claims that coveted spot. And I'm going to show you that receipt as well. Share. Chrome tab. Okay. This is JLW. This is her profile before she changed it. And let me see if I can get a bigger at the very first line item, and she used to have this listed there for years and years. But the number one network marketer in the world. So, which is it? Is it JLW? Is it Jenna? Who knows? Who knows? We are going to be looking at her training today. And I'm just going to get it pulled up. She is currently the marketing director or for, it looked like a parent company, and maybe HempWorx is a part of it, but the parent company also dabbles in CBD. So affiliate is used a lot with her current company. We're strictly just going to be looking at her training today, and I think it's going to be pretty eye opening. And I hope that it brings you a lot of value. If you know someone who would really benefit from being aware of these sales tactics, please send this video to them. And we are going to go ahead and press play.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the training today. Hopefully you guys can hear me, see me. I see you guys all in the chat hopping in from all over the world. So welcome. Good morning. Let's get started. I know a lot of people are still hopping on here. If you can hear me and see me, please confirm in the chat before I get started, because we definitely would like to have our technology working first today. Confirmed. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys.
Sometimes her audio goes out as she's speaking. This is what it downloaded as from YouTube. It looks like she had a connection issue, so most of it's pretty clear, and she also has a translation going at the same time.
Let's hop right into it, because I am just absolutely excited to bring this training with you guys. Here's how this training came to be. Just really quick, I decided to hop back into the field and try and troubleshoot with people on their businesses and what was ultimately holding them back from mastering the network marketing industry. And what I found was, time after time, phone call after phone call, it seemed like everybody was struggling with the same issue, and that was recruiting. So I decided to put together some training that hopefully will help you guys understand the process, how to overcome objections, how to break the ice, get into those conversations to begin with, and also how to duplicate this process in your team, because ultimately it's not what necessarily works for one person, it's what duplicates for everyone. So that's what this training is about.
Right. It does. Now, there's a lot of points of duplication does not mean creating clones and taking away the value from individual creativity in your network marketing business. So, partly what she is saying is a sound sales principle in having things that, if they work, having it easily consumed by the sales force. However, this isn't as easily transferable in multi-level marketing or network marketing companies.
About today. I'm super excited, so let's get right into it. All right, now that you guys can hear me, see me, let's go to our next slide. 1 second here. All right, so let's start out by talking about this. Why do we need to learn recruiting? For some people, they're super intimidated by the word recruiting. In fact,
Look, why do we need to learn recruiting? Standard success trajectory. So I guess she's saying, now here this is a little bit of confusion, because to me, I would think, why do we need to learn recruiting? And below would be the reasons why you need to learn recruiting. It's a little bit convoluted, because it looks like she's identifying a separate point of the standard success trajectory of like what people are trying to do: get good grades, go to college, get a job, retire, and have some time freedom and money freedom. Well, what it looks like is, why do we need to learn recruiting? And maybe she's going to say this, so we'll just keep listening.
almost wanted to call it something else, just to not scare anybody away by the thought of having to recruit. In fact, this is oftentimes one of our objections when people are joining this industry to begin with. Why do I have to recruit? I don't want to have to talk to my friends and family. I don't have to, all of this. People get so caught up over the word recruiting. But let me just tell you this. There's a reason why there's some resistance when it comes to recruiting. And that's basically because through our own educational system, through the standard success trajectory, we're really only taught one way to succeed, and that is to get good grades, go to college, get a job, retire, and eventually have some time, money, freedom. So we're not really taught necessarily how to do sales or how to build a business or how to become an entrepreneur. We're not taught any of those things. And it doesn't matter what type of entrepreneur that you actually are, you're still going to have to learn how to recruit.
I'm going to speed this up a little bit, because I think we can handle listening to her a little bit faster. Let's go to 1.5 and see how that is.
People, right? You're still gonna have to learn how to bring sales through the door. You're still gonna have to figure out how to connect with people, because in every single business, it's gonna be a people business. Otherwise, how are you gonna get customers? How are you gonna get affiliates? How are you gonna get, if you're a doctor and you're doing a doctor's office, how are you gonna get patients through the door, right?
I don't think you need to be able to recruit to get patients as a doctor. That's more of a marketing side. Like, as a doctor, you don't have to go out and get your own customers, and your value is inherent in that you offer a service that people always need. People always need a doctor. So I don't see how that's a valuable point that she's making.
Eventually you're gonna have to master this skill as an entrepreneur, okay? So that's one thing. Secondly, what holds us back from recruiting, why we need to learn this, is our money mindset. We get like some kind of anxious feelings around talking to people, right? And sometimes that's a deeper issue within ourselves, which is, I'm not worthy of creating lots of money for myself, or money is the root of all evil, or we're afraid somehow of making money. And because of that, we associate recruiting with making money, and somehow that feels guilty. But I'm here to tell you, money is not the root of all evil, okay? In fact, money can be used for good. And I want you guys to start to shift your mindset a little bit about how creating income in your business and bringing people into your business is actually a really good thing, because not only are you empowering yourself, you're empowering them to create money as well. And this is the goal, right? This is the goal, because you can't help a lot of people from poverty. You just can't. You can help a lot of people when you've got the tools and the mindset to be able to do so. Okay, so let's get on. Lastly, actually, before I move on to the next slide, this is the lifeblood of this business. Like I said, it's the lifeblood of any business. And ultimately, in network marketing, the goal is to become the leader, right? The leaders are the people that are making all the money.
Yeah, the leaders are the people making all the money. I don't I don't really understand why she's saying this quiet part out loud. I'm confused. I'm very confused.
Right? So ultimately, we have to master this skill if we want to become a leader in this industry. And I'm going to tell you guys and teach you guys today how exactly we're going to get that done. All right, moving right along. So here's our first step. When you're first having a conversation with somebody, it's important you do not skip this step. This is absolutely crucial. In fact, what I found from mentoring some of you guys, I've seen this step is skipped the most. And people go straight into talking about their opportunity, talking about their products, or talking about something that involves them instead of focusing on the person that they're talking to. So
I mean, sure, break the ice, but it seems like people have a problem with the disingenuous part where you have to find something in common, or again, disingenuously compliment them.
So do not skip this step, okay? You have to break the ice. That's step number one. You've got to find common ground with the person. Now, if you're talking to them on Facebook or Instagram or some form of online social media, sometimes you can just reference a comment or a post that you found them in. How did you find this person to begin with? Or maybe you found them in the grocery store to begin with. That's what you have in common. So you can stir up a conversation based on your common ground. An easy way also to make common ground with somebody or break the ice is to compliment them. That's the easiest way I found, especially if I'm in person. I'll compliment somebody, I'll say, man, you've got great hair, or I love your dress, or I love your shirt, or whatever. That's easy to do when you're in person. Online, it doesn't really.
Well, yeah, that's an easy way to start a conversation, but to what end? You're complimenting them so you can start the conversation, so you can start that initial talk so that you can sell them something. How does that feel good? And why is that not an easily understandable point that's hard for the sales force to get over in an MLM situation?
Really make as much sense. So I'm going to compliment them on something that they posted. Hey, I loved your post about XYZ. And, I feel exactly the same way. What led you into, feeling that way? So let's say they post something about the earth and taking care of our planet. I'm going to say, hey, I love your post about becoming more eco-friendly. As I've become a more conscious person, I've tried to make the decision in my own household to become, more conscious of our recycling habits and things like that, right? I'm bringing up something that they're talking about, that they're focusing on, right? And that's how I'm going to start my conversation with them. So break the ice. That's number one. Find something in common, compliment them. It seems like basic, right? But don't skip this step. It's absolutely crucial. Step number two, this is form, okay? Use form to fact find about their life. The more information that you can gather about them, the better. And
yeah, I mean, I understand this in the context of sales, but this, I feel like all of this training is used to manipulate people, in my opinion.
And why? Because you're going to be armed with the knowledge of what exactly they're looking for in their life, right? Or what their biggest need is. And you need to know the person's need and what they want, because you cannot help somebody if you don't have that information. So sometimes if we skip this step.
the product should be the help that they are looking for if they are coming to you with a need. You shouldn't have to dig to be able to find something that your product applies to. Like, Target doesn't harass me about what I need. I know what Target has to offer and I go in and I buy. What I want, I don't. I don't know. This is sketch.
And we say, hey, I love your shirt. Let me tell you about my business. How awkward is that, right? Like, I don't even know if you need a business yet. I don't even know, what you need. Maybe you're a multimillionaire and you're completely self-sufficient and maybe this business just isn't for you, right? Or maybe you're struggling and to put food on the table and you just need an extra $500 a month, right? I need to know that information. So I'm going to fact find as much as I can without coming off as kind of a creep. Like,
okay, there's so much. Hi, welcome. There's so much issue I have with what she just said. She's talking about finding what they're looking for, but she's also not balancing out that statement with saying, while when you find out what they need, you also need to have that level of integrity and ethics to tell them how much money it's going to cost them to get to $500 a month, how much time it's going to take for them to get to $500 a month. Because it's not just, I'm a warm body and I'm associated with this product and then it's magic. That's not the case.
Over asking questions. I try to do this in a friendly way so that they feel comfortable and confident, and ultimately that they feel like I care about them, because that's what it's about. So right off the bat, F stands for family, or where you're from. I see you're from the Las Vegas area. Fantastic. What brought you here? Do you have family here? I'm gonna open up that conversation, right? Like, yeah, I've been in the Las Vegas area for seven years. Oh, that's amazing. So I guess you've got family here. Yeah, I've got family here. Or no, I don't have any family here. That's spectacular. Now, why am I asking about their family? It seems kind of personal at first, right? Well, imagine this. You need to know more about their family, because this is going to help you recommend products to them later on in the conversation.
I understand that a little bit. This does seem predatory to me, and I might be biased. I'm sure I am biased against multi-level marketing, and I'm glad she's actually spelling it out. I mean, I do see the value in, if you're going to be in the system, that at least she's not just giving you fluff. But it's still very like unnerving to hear how calculated this is. Let me know if you agree.
Especially if they've got dogs or pets or whatever, you can kind of customize product gatherings, right? Or recommendations for them based on their current life situation. If they're just a single person and it's just them, but maybe they're obsessed with fitness, like, that's going to give me some clues as to what to recommend to them later on, right? So I'm going to have that information and keep that in the back of my head. So F is family, where you're from. Occupation is O. What do you do for a living? I love to ask this question, and I love to ask this question because 9 times out of 10 it comes right back to me. And when they ask me what I do, this is where we can pivot into more of a business conversation, right?
Is it about the product or is it about the opportunity? I mean, you haven't even found out enough information about them yet to know if they're looking for an opportunity, but you haven't even found out about enough information if they like what products are good for them. And if it truly is a direct selling business where the recruiting part is not being exploited in my opinion a very negative way, why is it so why is this conversation coming up so soon in that initial connection with the person? Yes, people shouldn't just be a dollar sign. Exactly right.
But that's coming up next. So occupation, what do you do for a living? I'm a truck driver. Fantastic. How long have you been doing that? I've been driving trucks for 12 years. Wow. You must love it if you've been doing it that long. Like, I'm always going to say that. Even if they say I'm a nail tech. Oh, how long have you been doing that? Like 30 days. Wow, you must love it if you've been doing it that long. I don't care if they say they've been doing it for 5 minutes. I'm just going to say, you must love it if you've been doing it that long.
Why would you just say you must love it if you've been doing it that long if they haven't been doing it a long time? I'm sure I'm splitting hairs at this point, but it just seems so manipulative because you're tactfully forcing the conversation to be redirected to you, so you have that open door to tell them about your multi-level marketing business opportunity. That's manipulative. I I mean, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think for sure.
How am I going to say that to them? This is a key phrase. So if you want to write this down, write this down. I'm going to ask them this. If they love their job, why am I going to ask them that? Well, because they're going to say, they're going to laugh. Maybe they're going to say, no, I actually hate my job, but I do it because I have to pay the bills. That's what most people say. It's a sad reality that we live in. Most people are not doing what they love, but this gives us an opportunity to help them do what they love. So that's why I say it like that. If they say, oh, I love my job, but it doesn't pay enough. I love my job. I mean, this is an opportunity for somebody to tell you what their needs are, right? I love it. It really gives me the work-life balance. If they're absolutely, positive about it, then that's amazing. Then this is not their need. So I'm going to move on to the next category here, which is
Why is the product not the star of your business? Why is the product just basically a placeholder? It is basically, I know everyone says all of these companies are pyramid schemes. Legally, do they fit the definition? Sometimes they don't. Honestly, sometimes they don't. But in my opinion, to just basically have the product as a glorified get out of jail free card for meeting the requirements to not be a pyramid scheme, I would easily call it a product based pyramid scheme. Easily. Cuz this is a no. This is a no for me. And again, I am biased. I don't like that if your company is selling a product, why is that not the first avenue to find people who want your product? Instead, you're looking for people to sell your product. That that seems backwards to me.
Or recreation. So outside of work, what do you do for fun? Recreation is what you do for fun. You guys go on vacations? Are you like a Disney family? You guys do the theme parks once a year? You go on vacation? Are you a Florida kind of vacation vibe, beach person? Are you international kind of traveler? What do you guys do for fun? Especially if they're a family. Are they traveling with a family of 6? Are they traveling with just their spouse? If travel is what they do for fun. Or maybe they say, I just love to read or like to Netflix and chill. Like, I want to know what kind of person this is. Where they spend their time, right? This is going to help me understand how I can help them. So maybe they're going to say, we love to go to the
Is it really going to help you understand how to help them, or is it going to help you learn how to manipulate and exploit them to sign up for your opportunity? Or as you're training these people for unsuspecting people to sign up for the opportunity. This is so calculated.
theme parks, once a year. And wish we could go more, but that's where we go because I have 2 weeks off a year. My job lets me have. So because I get 2 weeks off, we go to the theme parks in Florida.
Am I muted? I don't know. I don't think she's saying this to a complete stranger, but she did say earlier that she uses compliments to open doors quickly, like complimenting hair or your dress or your clothing or something to open the conversation. So I can easily imagine that she is doing some recruiting like in a natural setting, like in the grocery line or in the store, or maybe a connection she has, maybe like a warmer connection where like a warmer acquaintance in her circles or whatever. I can imagine her teaching people to use this in whatever person you come into contact with, always looking for that opportunity. Um, but even if you are being this calculated with someone you're kind of acquainted with, and you're forcing the conversation to, you're strategically maneuvering the conversation to open it up where your sales pitch can be started, I think that is absolutely manipulative.
Or California, whatever. Or we go to Dubai once a year, visit family there, whatever the reason is. Like, I want to know what they do for fun. And why do I want to know that? Well, because I know in the back of my head that I can help them do more of what they want and also earn income. It's a crazy, idea, I know, but my job is to help them have more fun in their life, right? So they have more money to spend on having fun. All right, so moving on to number M, on M, motivation and mission. Okay, what is our motivation? What is your mission? What gets you up in the morning? What fires you up every single day? If you had all the money in the world and didn't have to think about it anymore, what would you do with your time? What would you do? Maybe you would spend it on recreation, maybe, but what motivates you? What really fires you up? What is your innermost desire? Now, I'm probably not going to come out and just say, what's your innermost desire? Because they're going to be like, why are you asking me that?
Yeah, she's not going to ask that question like that because it's going to flag in the person's mind who she's talking to say, like, I feel like I'm getting preyed on. She's going to tell you, she's about to tell you how to say it in a better way so it lands better with the person you're talking to.
Right, we're going to try to smooth our way into this. Like, what motivates you to do what you do? Money. I'm motivated by money. Okay, maybe not, right? Maybe some people, yes. Maybe some people like, I'm motivated by the mission. You know, my ultimate goal is to bring a higher awareness to the planet. Whatever the mission. My mission is to help foster kids all over the world. My mission is, you know, I'd love to be able to give back to my community. I love to, you know, XYZ. Mission doesn't necessarily have to mean charity though. Mission could also mean, what are their goals, right? So I would like to know a little bit about their goals.
She's looking for every single piece that would potentially motivate this potential recruit, so she knows how to craft her sales pitch to target them and what they actually care about, so they're more likely to say yes when she tells them about the quote unquote opportunity. I'm very I just don't. I am not a fan. I am not a fan.
What's your ultimate goal? Like, what's your end goal? Because here's the thing: when you're doing the grades, you know, college, work, retire, and then freedom, there's a difference between these goals, right? There's an end goal. The end goal is to have enough money so that you can spend your time on whatever you want, right? That's the end goal. Almost for everybody has the same end goal. But we get stuck in the means goals, which is the process of getting to the end goal. So I want to ask what their goal is, because again, almost 10 times out of 10, their end goal is the same as my end goal, which is to have enough money so that I own my time. Most people can say, oh, to have extra money so I can invest, so I can travel, so I can, what are your goals? I want to know what your goals are. I want to know what your mission is. And also I want to know if you have a plan to get there. That's amazing that you want to change the world and you want to donate, you know, millions of dollars to foster children all over the world. I love that mission. I actually work on that mission as well. What is your plan for getting there?
She's asking the follow-up question because she's looking for a deficit, and that deficit she's hoping she can fill with her income opportunity.
Key, guys, write this part down. What's your plan? Okay, if they're gonna say, I love to do the Disney parks, we're back on recreation, right? What is your plan to being able to go there more often? Do you have a plan to get there?
The question is, do you want to go there more often? Who knows? I mean, I don't. What if they're fine with how much they're visiting Disney?
What is your plan? And they're gonna say, well, just working my job, trying to save money, trying not to have an emergency that wiped out my savings. That's typically everybody's plan. Okay, if now how we transition this is going to be on the next slide. But if I could show you a way, right? If I could show you a way to build another plan that will get you there faster, would you be open to taking a look at this opportunity? All right. So that's how we build our form. That's how we fact find about their life. You got to spend enough time in this, you know, category or in this stage of recruiting. You have to spend enough time here to really understand this person. Okay. Because ultimately our job is to help them. It's not to sell them on something they don't want or need. We're only talking to people that have a want or a need. Okay. People have absolutely no wants or needs. Well, you're gonna have a very difficult time in trying to get them into your business. Okay. So we got to figure out what that is. All right. Now write this down too. What is your occupational phrase? Now, what is an occupational phrase? Your occupational phrase is your answer to when they ask you, what do you do for a living, right? Because they might ask you this back. What I found in conversations, they typically mirror each other, right? We say, hi, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Like we ask the same questions back. It's polite, right? We do this without even thinking about it. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a teacher. That's great. What about you? To ask you, what about you? What do you do for a living? So you need to have this ready to go. You got to have this phrase locked and loaded. You have to know exactly what you do for a living, because if you mess this part up, you may lose the rest of the conversation. If you say, oh, I'm in.
I mean, it's pretty well established that you should know the answer to this. But the reason that you are asking the question to that person you're talking to is to open the door so you can entice them into what you're doing. You know, and please leave teachers and nurses alone. They are doing a wonderful job, and they're doing a very hard job, and there's already a lot of things stacked against them, and to play into the discontent that they already have and lure them into an opportunity that more likely than not will not financially help them is wrong. It's just it feels slimy.
One of those businesses, you know, where the guy makes all the money at the top. You know, I'm in one of those stay-at-home businesses. You know, if you're starting to like describe what you do in a very vague and pyramid kind of way, they're gonna be like, red flag, red flag. I'm not doing that. Like, is this MLM? You're gonna get objections right off the bat. And then now you're in objection land where you're trying to swim out of it and trying to like survive this conversation without looking dumb, right? So this is why you need to have an occupational phrase. You gotta have an occupational phrase. You gotta have it in the back. Here's a couple of examples of what you can use. You guys are laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that when I was starting out. Oh my God, I'm still doing that now. Okay, yes, you guys get it. You understand. All right, so number 3, know what your occupational phrase is here. 1, here's an example. I specialize in helping people earn extra income from home.
I hope if you've ever been sent a cold message that you know if someone says, I specialize in helping people earn extra income from home, that they are 99% of the time talking about a multi-level marketing company, and please, please, please do your homework before saying yes to one of these.
Now, this is super vague, and I'm kind of against vague, especially if I'm talking to somebody that's like a truck driver or they're a teacher, right? Okay, let's use these.
Oh, she's telling you how to target teachers and truck drivers, and I'm guessing nurses, more effectively. Great. That sounds delightful.
Occupations as an example. I specialize in helping truck drivers make additional income while they're on the road. I am going to customize my occupational phrase is going to work for whatever they actually do.
Oh, great. Not great. This if you have never helped truck drivers work their business in an effective way where more often than not they earn money, I would say you could say that. If you have not done that, I have a hard time with you recommending to other people to make a chameleon of what they do for a living to fit any situation. That doesn't seem honest. That definitely feels like a spinning the truth and not telling the truth.
Because they're gonna be like, no way. Are you serious? How did we meet? This is the stars are aligning. Like, how did you know that this is exactly what I needed? Right. So I'm gonna specialize in whatever it is that they need or want. Because again,
I'm going to specialize in whatever they need or they want because I already know what they need and want because I've pulled that from the conversation earlier. I understand sales to a degree. I understand that when you're talking to someone, you can genuinely share what your company offers in a way that maybe applies to that person best, but it is still truthful. The way that she's saying it is feels a little bit less than truthful.
company, My Daily Choice, is just a vehicle to get people where they want. If you spend all the time talking about the features of the vehicle, people will tune out. I want to know where it's going to take me. You understand? So we have to think about it like that. So let's talk about if this is a teacher. All right. I specialize in helping teachers earn an extra income during those summer months where they're not collecting a paycheck. You want to
Oh, and she has a little example on the screen in the background. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can blow it up more. About the cold messages she's sending. Yay. Finding their pain points to manipulate them into thinking their opportunity can save them. Exactly. I mean, Lori, like that's. I feel like this is manipulative. It's not just me being sensitive or feeling like extra pain from recently leaving my multi level marketing company. That doesn't feel right. Let's see. Play.
do you really want to do summer school? You want to do full-time school and you want to have to volunteer for summer school to make extra money? But if you're like my parents growing up, my parents were teachers. They had a lawn service business in the summer where they mowed people's lawns to make extra income because they had 4 kids. So they were always looking for a way to make extra money outside of their teacher time during the year. So you can quite frankly go out to a teacher and say, I specialize in helping teachers earning extra income during those summer months, right? So whatever they tell you, you specialize in helping them make extra income while they're doing that thing that they do. Does that make sense? All right, so that's one option. Number 2 is I recently partnered with a $100 million a year company that specializes in helping people create time freedom in their lives.
I recently partnered with $100 million a year company that specializes in helping people create time freedom in their lives. Why does that sound so wrong? When you say that, the person listening makes several assumptions about you and about the potential to earn money with a quote unquote successful business. They are taking their own situation and the consistency of their paycheck and thinking they can do the same thing with the company that she's talking about. And that's just not an accurate statement.
Why am I saying it like that? That's bragging a little bit. I'm saying it like that because now I'm leveraging my company. Like it's not just me. Like don't look at me, right? Look at who I'm partnered with.
Does leveraging your company mean you're lying? I know what leverage means. I'm being sarcastic. She's using leverage because she's spinning the situation in its best light, when that's not the actuality of what someone could get in that situation.
I'm leveraging something bigger and greater than myself. So you feel like you can actually talk to me about this because you work with an awesome company. Tell me more about your company that you partner with. Absolutely, I would love to do that. Let me give you access to our online tour. Got it? Okay, that's what makes sense. Okay, number 3 is I specialize in helping stay-at-home moms earn a paycheck. Some
Please stop preying on moms. Please stop it. All this makes me so frustrated because they're looking for people with who have an easier yes, because they actually are looking for an opportunity, and they're getting this, a situation that is easily exploitable and benefits the upline in almost any situation.
people don't have an occupation right now. Some people are literally just wiping butts all day. That's me when I'm not working. Okay. Some of us are moms, some of us are dads, some of us are unemployed, some of us are, in between jobs. Right. So I specialize in helping people who are in between jobs earn a paycheck from where they're at right now. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope that makes sense, you guys, because this is crucial. You have to know what your occupational phrase is. Now, what happens next? You need to wait for their response. This is not your opportunity to now go word vomit and all over the conversation and say, now, let me tell you about my house of brands. Let me tell you about my 4 pillars and why Josh and Jen are great. And no, they're not ready yet. They're not ready. We're going to wait for their response. Patience. Okay. Because what they say next is going to change what you do next. Right. So this is a game of chess, not checkers. This is a game of chess. So once they make their move, we wait to see where they're going to go.
We wait to see where they're going to go so we can make another calculated step to meet them where they're at. Great. Delightful.
Because that's going to change where we move our pieces next. All right. Next slide. We wait for their response. Now, they're going to have 1 or 2 different ways of responding. It's either going to be a positive response or a negative response.
So if you're watching this and you've been approached by a multi-level marketing rep, every single step of their script is laid out to if then, or if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. So if you have a positive response, you go a specific way. If you have a negative response, you go another way. I just want you to be aware, because them being able to answer the questions you have doesn't mean that the opportunity is going to be what they describe. And I just want you to be aware of what goes in to these conversations, because it's strategic. In this case, it feels manipulative, and I would just like you to be equipped with more information.
Right? Positive is, wow, this sounds amazing. How did you know? Like, I'm a teacher that needs extra income. Like, you totally, how did we meet? This is amazing. All right, I need to know more about this. Tell me what you do, or tell me how I can do it. Positive response. A positive response is going to lead to you asking the question, which I'm going to tell you on the next slide. Positive goes to ask the question. A negative response, you may get a negative response where they come back at you and they go, this is one of those pyramid things. Is this MLM? Please tell me this is not.
Yes, this is one of those MLMs. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because if this is MLM, I don't know if I can do this, right? Then they get all stressed out about it. But I'm not going to tell them about my business yet until I know if they have an aversion to MLM first. Like, I need to have that information first, right? So if they say that, then I'm going to go to handle objections. I'm going to go to my handle objections slide, and then I'm going to ask the question.
I hope that people, as awareness grows about the exploitation that happens in these companies, that the wariness about the risk involved with multi-level marketing continues to grow, because in that awareness and in that aversion, you are more protected from exploitation like this.
So it's just one extra step if you get a negative response. Negative response doesn't mean, oh, I lost the sale. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means they need more information, or they need more clarity about how they feel about this industry, which we're going to give them. Does that make sense? All right, moving on. So positive response. Wow, this sounds amazing. I'd love to learn more about what you do. Great. Well, if I could show you how to create an additional source of income while doing what you love, while driving your truck, while teaching those kids, while staying home, in between jobs, would you be open to learning how to do that? Yes, I would.
Would you be open into actually helping more people than not succeed at this? Because right now, that is not the case. That is not what the numbers show.
Nobody's gonna say no to that. No, actually, I love being miserable. I don't think that.
Some people are not happy in their job situation. The fact that she is playing on this to hype up her own opportunity is it's not unethical, it's just exploitive because you're using someone's frustration with their job and selling them on something that doesn't fit what they are selling in that they're selling something bigger than what they can provide. And they're making it sound like a dream when you have to work incredibly hard to be successful in multi-level marketing.
That's for me. Like, then almost 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes, right? They're going to say, yes, I'm open, because they don't want to be perceived as somebody that's closed-minded. So when you ask them if they're open to learning how,
and a perfectly acceptable answer, you don't need to be open-minded. You can absolutely say, I'm not open to this opportunity. Thanks so much. Have a good day. You don't have to necessarily be nice. You can say, no, thank you. This is not for me. And you don't have to feel bad about it.
open to learning, not, are you open to joining my business right now? Give me your credit card. No, we don't rush that, right? Are you open to learning? Yes, I'm open to learning. I'm a very open-minded learning kind of person. Thank you for asking. Okay. And number 2 is, do you keep your options open when it comes to achieving your goals? You said your goal was to take more vacations. You said your goal was to have extra money so that you can retire. You said your mission was to help foster kids. So do you keep your options open on how you're going to get to that goal? Do you keep your options open, or is it only the way you're doing it is the only way that it can happen? Well, yeah, I keep my options open when it comes to achieving my goals. All right, fantastic. Now let's talk about objections. So let's say they give you a negative response. We've all had negative responses. You've been in this industry more than 5 minutes and you talk to 3 people, you've had a negative response. Guaranteed. Unless you're just an absolute rock star and everybody's a yes for you, which is amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. If not, if you're like the rest of us out here trying to get out of objection land and you get a negative response, this is how you handle these. All right. So rule of thumb, feel, felt, found. These are the 3 steps to remember when you're handling any objection. Number 1.
Okay, we're going to listen to her teach on how to handle objections using feeling words when you should be looking for, you as the potential recruitee, it's more than acceptable to ask for factual information, for tangibles, for things that can be measured and weighed. And I say that not as an actual weighing thing, but stuff that, like the income disclosure statement, um, asking her how much does it cost her to run her business per year, how much time does it take to serve the team that she's leading, um, the taxes involved. I don't know. There's so many other questions that are meaningful and are more important to be answered than whatever she's about to train on.
I understand how you feel. We're going to bridge that emotional connection, okay? Because they need to know you're not just a salesperson trying to get them. You're actually somebody that understands.
But you are just a salesperson trying to get them. I don't. It's so you're saying she's teaching how to say it better so you don't seem like you're the salesperson out to get them. Now, I'm going to say this. Sales is important. It is important. But whatever is going on here, this feels slimy.
And their feelings. Like, we care about you. We understand how you feel. Number 2, when I made the decision to start my own business, I felt the same way. I'm validating it for you.
Did she feel the same way? Because if she didn't feel the same way, or if the person who's learning from the script or this process hasn't felt the same way, then do not say that. Just don't. Tell the truth.
Like, you're allowed to be, skeptical. You're allowed to be negative at first. You're allowed to have, questions. It's okay, because
you're allowed to be negative at first, but once you join, that's not as welcome. And that has been the case across the board from the multi-level marketing companies, the quote unquote communities that I've seen, some that I've been a part of.
I joined this business, I felt the same way. Number 3, what I found was, though, that my excuses, my objections, my responses, that's the exact reason why I needed to do this. All right, now let's.
Sometimes your objections need to be answered, and when they cannot be answered, that means that the opportunity is not for you. It is not a reason for you to jump into something necessarily. And you can remember that you don't need to be bullied or pushed into a situation because someone is saying they resonate with how you're feeling or what you're thinking right now.
Put this into some action. I'm gonna give you guys some real examples of objections that people get on a real time basis, okay? So objection number one, what's the financial obligation for this business? How much money is it gonna cost me? How much do I have to pay every month? Is this one of these things where I gotta put money up front? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So this is how I'm gonna answer this, okay? All right, well, it depends on what your goals are. If you don't have big goals, it's not gonna cost you very much money at all, okay? If you've got big goals, it may cost you a little bit more money because it depends on how fast you wanna get to those goals. That's what I'm basically getting at.
It depends on how fast you want to get to those goals. And depending on your speed, that's going to change the amount of money it's going to cost you. Let's just keep listening.
Yeah. It depends on what your goals are. There are ways to maximize our compensation plan, and there's also an option to work your way up. All of this is covered in the online tour. Would you like access to this now or after we hop on the phone? Would you like access to the online tour? Notice I'm not saying presentation at all, because the moment you say presentation, they're like, pyramid scheme. Like they've been trained, like there's trigger words for people. As soon as you say home business or work from home business, they go scam. I don't know what it is about some like the programming that these people are getting. I have no idea why it's this way. So I try to change my verbiage a little bit so that it makes sense.
Well, I hope if you find this video, you're aware of all the additional verbiage that's being used to get you to the same spot that the other words that you're alerted to were getting you to as well. This online tour is a presentation. End of story.
To them in their language. Do you understand? Would you like access to this online tour or would you like to hop on the phone? Those are your options. What's it going to be? You pick. Either way, you're getting in this business. So which one's going to be? All right. I would like access to the online tour fast. All right. So now we've gotten over our objection. We're going to the next step. Sometimes they may say another objection, and then you have to revisit this again, right? Well, I don't know if I have the time. I felt the same way. I understand how you feel. And what I found was this business gave me more time.
I've heard this answer too in multiple different businesses. And does it actually give you more time? Does it? Because if you have a large team, you're training your team, you're traveling, you're speaking at events, you're going on trips, does it actually free up time to spend with your family? I don't know.
Well, I don't think my spouse is going to like this. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. And what I found was my spouse became supported after I started having success.
I'm sorry to keep pausing this so much, but some spouses do not become supportive because they maybe were aware of the manipulation or the cost that was going to be involved, and they see you being manipulated by your upline.
You see, like this works for every excuse or every objection that they can give you. And you just keep revisiting until they're like out of excuses and out of objections. And then they go, fine, I'll take a look because you're beating me at this game and I get it. I understand. Okay. The next one, let's use this one. I don't have the time. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I decided to start my own business. But what I found was this business was the only plan I had going for me that was actually going to give me more time in the long run. Because let's think about it. If you're trading time for money in your job, you're going to always be trading time for money. Like there's no way out of there. Like you have to put in your time in order to get out of this whole mess. You can't ever get ahead. Right. So this is
I will say this. When you're trying to move up in a company, sometimes you have to increase the velocity. So, like the time, the effort initially to get forward momentum. I understand that. I'm saying that the compensation plan doesn't work without people underneath you, people above you. Is it going to actually pay out? More often than not, people lose money.
exactly why I needed to start my own business so that I could take back my time. Make sense? All right, so let's go to objection number 3. I love this one. This one's my favorite. This one involves bringing in the big guns, your upline later, okay? Here's how we handle this objection. How much success have you had? Show me the...
So in Mary Kay, back in the day, you would get on a 3-way call with your upline, like a conference call. And so you would be there because your friend or your prospect knew you, but your upline would be the one talking, answering the objections, showing how successful they were, blah, blah, blah. And it is used to help recruit more, not inform more.
proof. How much money have you made? Have you guys encountered this yet? This is great. Okay, so here's my response to this. And of course, you're going to put this in your own words, but this is the response for this. And when I am saying my...
Are people actually going to put this in their own words? Because I see a lot of script copy and pasting going on. So I know she wants people to put it in her own words because that is ideal. That would be a better situation. And even using a truthful situation would be ideal. But It's sometimes too tempting if you can't think through those scripts yourself to not copy and paste.
My name, Jenna, in the example, you can put in your upline. Maybe it's Robert, maybe it's, Lynn, maybe it's Judy, maybe it's whoever, Alicia, I don't know. Whoever your upline leader is that's 50K or above, you're going to use their story, whoever you're working with. Okay. If you're like, I'm not working with anybody, you can use Jenna. You can use whoever you'd like here. Okay. All right. That is 50K or above. That is willing to do a call with you. All right. Here, check it out. Show me your proof of success. How much money have you made? I just started working with this company and I'm being mentored by Jenna, who is the top female income earner in this industry. She's helped create several millionaires. She's very selective with who she works with.
Is she selective with who she works with? Or are you saying that to help that person recruit more? It sounds like she will talk with anyone to help that person recruit. And then you're tying the validity of you being in the organization with someone who's actually successful in the organization. And you're adding to the facade. So I can see how this would be successful. I don't see how this is a situation where it is not deceptive, it's not exploitive, because it feels deceptive and exploitive. I say feel as a feeling word. The actual words of what they're telling you to say here is, if you participate in it, it is creating an exploitive and deceptive situation.
But if you're serious about starting your own business or earning extra income and you want to learn from the best, I'm sure she will help you out too. When are you available for a quick chat? If they say, oh, let me see, I think I could do that. Let me look at my calendar. Ask Jenna for a 3-way chat or phone call. And then once she gives you some times, you go back to that person and say, Jenna's available tomorrow at 4 o'clock or next week at 3 o'clock. What works best for you? See, now I'm taking the pressure off of me, right? As the leader, the upcoming leader in this business. Don't look at my paycheck, look at Jenna's paycheck. Don't look at my paycheck, look at Robert's paycheck. Don't look at me, look at the pro.
Don't look at my paycheck, look at the person who's earning a lot of money and using that to get people to sign up. That tell me, yes. Fake it till you make it. That's absolutely right, Lori. Is that Lori? I feel like that is extremely deceptive, right? Because if you're signing up, you're trusting your friend to have the conversation, then you get hit with this conversation where they're saying, hey, I don't make a lot of money yet, but my upline so and so does, and my other upline so and so does. And the natural assumption is you can too. That's just wrong.
They've done it. I'll teach you how to connect with them. They have the answers. I don't have the answers. They have the answers. Does that make sense? So it takes the pressure off of you. This is when you need to leverage your leader that you're working with. Now, for all the leaders that are 50K and above, listen, you need to be doing these calls with your people. You need to be available for your people.
You need to be available for your people because you will recruit more, because you're using your paycheck and their connection with that new person to sign people up. How is this not sleazy?
Because otherwise, how are you going to raise them up out of this mess? You have to help them get out of this mess. And that is your obligation as a 50K or above. You got to do these chats with people. You got to do the calls with people.
We all
help them.
Listen, we're all deceptive. I mean, not all, we're all like, we've all done it. We've all done it because we were told to do it. And I think once you realize what's going on, I think Lori, you tell me if I'm wrong, but you probably experienced this too, and saying that's not right. And obviously, being outside of an MLM, looking at this now, it feels incredibly quote unquote wrong, because you can see that they're using your connection with someone and then they're tying how much they make. And so then that person will say yes. It feels twisted. And I wouldn't ever say like it's the uplines teaching this kind of behavior. It's not naturally like my idea or your idea, Lori, for sure.
Become their best self in this business. All right. So that's how you handle that. Next one. Is this MLM? We get this one, just quite frankly, we get this one. All right. And I would say, yes, I wouldn't touch it if it wasn't. Absolutely. Because if it were anything else, I don't think it would be for me. So you can quite frankly just say it like that. Just be very, very upfront. You're owning it. You're not dancing around it. We're not pretending we're not MLM. We're not that kind of company. They are companies.
I mean, I'm not going to say that's not a good answer, but if you are thinking about joining it, asking that direct question will save you a lot of heartache if you don't want to be associated with a multi-level marketing company.
That pretend they're not MLMs. We're not one of those. We're going to own it. We're proud of it. This is an amazing industry. This is a huge industry. This is an important industry that has helped several millions of families every single year. So you need to own that and feel good about that, okay? Just because society says MLM is bad doesn't mean it's bad, okay? It means it.
Just because something is legal doesn't make it good. Let me just be clear about that. And just because the industry is not being regulated in what I would call an effective way doesn't mean that what's going on right now is good, because people are being exploited, people are losing money. And and I'm glad that people on YouTube are speaking out, because it seems like the only people that are going to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves is public opinion and raising awareness, because legislators aren't doing it. The Direct Selling Association isn't doing it. The companies themselves are not regulating their own independent consultants. So, ugh.
Is actually good. They just don't understand it. This is a pyramid scheme. No, those are illegal. I run a
Okay. Advocare recently had to restructure because their compensation plan didn't, yeah, I think it was slightly a pyramid scheme. It wasn't it I don't know the correct terminology, but they had to restructure. And they were around for a really long time. Just because somebody is around doesn't mean they are not a pyramid scheme. It doesn't mean they will never be regulated by the governing bodies. So, and she has been talking about recruiting this whole time. Why isn't she talking about teaching others how to sell the product?
legal business. I don't run illegal businesses. And then I think Todd says, he's like, why, is that what you're looking for? Right? You can add that on there as well. Is this pyramid scheme? No, those are illegal. Why, is that what you're looking for? No, I'm not looking for an illegal.
That is just a way to turn the conversation around to lighten it so that it becomes something where they won't immediately leave. I can see how that could keep the conversation going. That's a kind of a good response, but it's still used to, again, handle the objection.
Pyramid scheme. I just thought that that's what you were. Okay, so we addressed that. Moving right along.
She is at the top because it's her company and was still active in the MLM when she started the company. How could other reps compete with that? That is a great question. That's an excellent question.
Confidence. You got to be confident in this direction. Just answer it very quickly and then move on. So then they may come back with this, because that doesn't technically always squash it from there. They're going to come back with some more objections from there, right? Which is, I don't want to be an MLM. I don't want to recruit people under people. I'm not good at sales. I couldn't imagine trying to sell to my friends and family. They sometimes come back with that, right? So then this is what we say to that. I totally understand why you feel that way. I felt the same way before joining this industry too. I thought there was no way it could work out for me, or that it was even legitimate. But what I found was the network marketing industry is pretty massive. It's bigger than the NFL. The only difference between this business model and others out there is our company pays regular people to spread the word.
Your company does not pay people to spread the word. They mark up their product to pay the compensation levels, as many levels down as they're allowed to pay. And they pay people when they buy product from the company, not when they sell product from the company. The uplines make money when their downlines buy product from the company, not when those consultants sell product from the company. So it is disingenuous of you to say that the company is paying regular old people to market it and sell it, because that's not the case.
Instead of paying for other types of advertising, such as TV, radio, media, or billboards. Another thing to consider is that starting a traditional brick and mortar business takes thousands and thousands of dollars that most people don't have to get started. With this industry, there's very low overhead, so anyone can start.
I wouldn't say there's low overhead, because most companies require you to have either a quarterly, a yearly, or monthly payment to have access to your commission check, or to make sure that your status remains active.
The network marketing industry creates more millionaires than any other industry in the world.
At what cost? At what cost are they creating millionaires? At what cost to others? At what cost to the people in their downline? And I'd love a link. I'd love a link to see that information. I'm not saying I don't believe it, but I'd love a link.
Ooh, who got chills? I got chills. Man, that's a great response, okay? Because They have these feelings about network marketing and MLM because they don't understand it. They don't understand that it's just a business model. That's it. It's just a means of advertising. That's it. Okay. It's not.
That is not it. That is not it. If you were selling radio spots at a radio station, you wouldn't sell those radios, like those advertisement spots, to other salespeople within the radio station and keep doing that until you found an actual customer. You have to find customers to fill those spots. And in a multi-level marketing, you can just find people to purchase. You can just find recruiters or independent consultants to purchase a product, not necessarily customers, and you get paid on that.
It's not a scheme. It's not a pyramid. It's not anything other than a type of advertising that a company chooses.
It is the shape of a pyramid. I don't know the proper names for the type of compensation plans, but you can easily understand it that if you become an independent consultant of a company and you recruit people, where do those people go? They go underneath you. And if those people recruit, where do those people go? Underneath them. So what shape are we creating now? A triangle.
To implement. You guys are the sales force of our brick and mortar business. My Daily Choice is a brick and mortar business. Did you know that? It's right here.
Yeah, so she's My Daily Choice. She is the marketing person for them now, and I think they're the overhead of HempWorx. I didn't quite get to look into that, but yeah, yes, they get the word out, but they are also like the perfectly packaged recruiter and customer. They accept the risk by housing the product.
On Eastern Avenue in Henderson. It is a real business. We have a real shipping department. We've got a real operations team. Okay, we've got real customer service. We have real HR department. This is a real company, and affiliates are our sales force. We pay.
And they use the term affiliates across their website. I did look that up, but are they affiliates or are they independent consultants, independent contracted workers for them? That's the question I have.
Pay our affiliates to spread the word. That's it. It's just the difference. That's the difference between this business and what else is out there. If you want to start a McDonald's, you better have 100 grand to get started, right? If you want to start a Chipotle, you better have, 20.
This is not a good comparison because those companies actually have built value in the actual marketplace. People actually like those places to go to eat. Her husband is My Daily Choice and her company is HempWorx. Got it. That makes tons of sense. It's very confusing when I was reading it online and I was like, this is I have to read this. And then the LinkedIn didn't send me anywhere. So that's super helpful.
25 grand to get started, whatever it costs. I don't know, right? You have to have all of that money up front, and then you have to still go recruit sales into your business, and you have to learn the model of how to franchise and duplicate. It's no different than here, except the risk is much, much lower. Does that make sense? Okay. Also, we have a money back guarantee, so there's literally no risk.
In comparison, the risk is lower, but the percentage of the money that people are losing, the money potentially that they don't have, it's a greater percentage. Okay. Lori, we may have to have a DM conversation because this whole like twisting connection that because I've been watching a few of her videos, like it's very convoluted. That's super helpful.
Involved with our company. All right, next. Let's wait for their response. Okay, so now you're gonna say, wow, I didn't know that, or they're gonna give you a negative or positive response from here, right? And if it's positive, we're gonna book the appointment. If it's negative or another objection, we're gonna go back to feel, felt, found, and address it. We don't skip over them, we just address them and we move on. So let's say now they're saying, all right.
And you wonder why people don't want to get targeted by multi-level marketing independent reps. You get stuck in a sales cycle of a looped conversation if you don't give them the answer they want, and then they keep asking the same questions and they keep trying to address the same concerns. And I mean, just no is fine, and then no is no. I don't understand what's so difficult about that.
I'm interested. Tell me more. Now we're going to book the appointment. The appointment is this. The appointment is scheduling a time to give them all the business opportunity details.
What about the product? When are we going to learn how to sell the product? At what point are we going to learn how to sell the product?
All right. This is basically, we're scheduling in their presentation that they're going to see, their business overview, their online tour. Now, I do the appointment before I do my capture page, send my website or my tour, because when you can connect with somebody on the phone, they can feel your energy, they can feel your sincerity, they can tell if you're a good person, they can, you can build that relationship much.
Can we tell if you're a good person, or can we just tell if you're a good salesperson on the phone? I know I'm splitting hairs, but I do believe that the words that you say matter. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at speaking or communicating, but what she is communicating to the people she's training doesn't seem like it passes the sniff test.
Faster, so that's why I try to get people on the phone first, but not everybody does that, and that's okay. So let's talk about that. Tell me more. I'm interested. They're interested, so we're going to go to the yes side here. I'm glad you asked, but right now I'm heading into a meeting right now. Can I give you a call in the next 20 minutes or tomorrow around 2:30? So I'm going to ask them, basically, I'm going to give them two different options here. Also, I'm a busy business person. I'm a millionaire. I don't have time to just hop on the phone right now, right? So I'm going to just create a little buffer there. I'm glad you asked, but I'm heading into a meeting right now.
Are you actually heading into a meeting? Do you actually not have time? Is this just a tactic to make the sales experience more acceptable for the person you're trying to recruit? She's training this to any level within HempWorx or within My Daily Choice. And not everyone she's going to be training are millionaires, but they're going to take the same advice to create this scarcity that, oh, they need to book now. The person on the phone needs to go ahead and book, because if they don't book, there's not going to be a time slot. When any salesperson will make time for a call, any single salesperson will.
You guys are like, I don't have no meetings. That's okay. Just hear me out for a second. I'm glad you asked, but I'm heading into a meeting right now. Can I give you a call in the next 20 minutes or around 2:30 or around 4 o'clock tomorrow or whatever? Give them two options. And if they say yes, okay, I can talk to you tomorrow at 2:30, schedule the phone call. And then on this phone call, you're going to just rehash their goals. You can say, so tell me what, interests you about, working on your goals. Why do you need to do this now? And they're going to say, well, like I said, I'm a teacher. I don't make a lot of money in the summer, and I need to supplement my income, right? Okay, so if they say that, which is typically what they're going to say, you're going to say, based on what you've said on the call here today, based on what you're telling me, I think you'd be a great fit for this business.
Absolutely, they're creating FOMO. When they're creating a disingenuous situation, and I hate saying that word, they're creating a false situation to make them more to make it more acceptable for the person to say yes, or to make it feel safer, like we're not desperately waiting by the phone for our next recruit to call. And that's not if you have time to talk to someone, yeah, I understand the idea of giving them two choices. Hey, I could talk to you today at 1, or I could talk to you tomorrow at whatever. I understand that, but the way that she's having them word it, it makes it seem like their business is very busy, and that the company is, or like the products are selling, or it's going so well that I'll fit you in when I can, when again, that's not the case. And she's saying, oh, this looks like it'd be a great fit for you. I've never seen a multi-level marketing independent consultant refuse a sign up. I've never seen it. I don't think any multi-level marketer would say, hey, this isn't a great fit for you. And if you have seen that, leave me a comment. But I've to say like, oh, I only have 10 spots this month, and then say, oh, I don't have any more spots left, when there's no limit on how many people you can sign up a month, you're lying. You're lying to create that FOMO, like Lori was saying.
Business. Based on what you're saying, I think you'd be a great fit for this business. And so I'd like to send you access to our online tour so that you can get all the details. So still on the phone, I'm not doing the presentation. I'm not going to do it because it's going to take too long. I'm going to mess it up. Like, I want them to watch the video. I want them to opt in, and I want them to see it firsthand. Okay. Does that make sense? So the phone call is just to kind of rehash the form a little bit, just to develop that relationship a bit further. Establish yourself as a leader that can help guide them to success, right? And if they're like, yes, this sounds amazing, please, I need to know how to do this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you access to my online tour. Here's my website. Put in your details, watch the video, write down any questions that you have, and then we're going to hop back on the phone to discuss. Does that make sense? All right. Now, if they say, no, I can't get on the phone right now. Some people say, no, I don't want to talk on the phone, or I'm busy right now, or I'm making my kids lunch, or I'm at work right now. Okay. So this is what I say to that. Typically, when I work one-on-one with people, I prefer to chat over the phone, but I understand your time constraints right now.
I feel like I've heard this sales response. So typically when I work one-on-one with people, I prefer to chat over the phone. But I understand your time constraints right now. Would you prefer to take an online tour of our business instead? I understand addressing that objection. I just don't. I'm just not on board with. I understand overcoming objection if they don't specifically say no out loud. I get what they're doing. I guess I have such a huge problem with the business model that it's hard to overcome. Like listening to them train others on how to manipulate people to get them into an opportunity that will more likely than not put them into a bad financial situation.
Now, would you prefer to take an online tour of our business instead? Would you prefer to take an online tour of the business instead of a phone call? Yes, I would love to do that. Okay, great. So then we're going to send our website, which is this slide right here. So after you've been given permission to send your link, you're going to send them a capture page that would most appeal to them. All of our capture pages are broken down by different demographics, different product styles, different, product, gather offerings, I should say. Like some is Hemp Mama, some is more for mantra, some is, for our peak sprays or whatever. And it's all different demographics. So based on who I'm talking to, I'm going to select the capture page that I think would most appeal to them. Does that make sense? Now, don't forget this part right here. After you've been given permission, you got to get permission to send your link before you send your link. You never send somebody a link until you get permission. Otherwise, they're going to feel very much like you're pressuring them. And
I mean, I understand that. I appreciate some type of acknowledgement of boundaries that you need to wait for permission to send something. I don't have a problem with what she's saying there. I'm just the amount of tactical strategy going into kind of pipeline this person through the funnel of recruiting. It's hard to listen to.
And we do not want to have that. We do not want to pressure them into anything. Would it be all right if I give you online access to the tour right now? Yes. The more times you get them to say yes, the higher chances of them signing up in the business is going to be. Does that make sense? Okay. So now,
is she saying that the more times they say yes, the more like they're basically, I don't know, training their neural pathways that they are going to say yes, whether they like it or not at the end? I know she's not being that dramatic, but I mean, I understand that it's normally a sign that the more times they say yes, the more open they are to the idea, but maybe she's not communicating that well.
We're off the phone. They took the tour. They wrote down your questions. They have some objections. We're going to revisit those objections I found, right? Or they have no objections and they say, wow, this seems amazing. I can totally see myself doing this. You're going to say to them, where do you see yourself starting? Where do you see yourself starting? As a customer?
I've heard this.
Right? No pressure there. No commission.
I'd feel like we talked about this in my Mary Kay sales pitch call that I went over a few weeks ago. 1 customer, 2 part-time, 3 full-time, 4 all in. And I mean, the wording was a little bit different, but you're gauging their interest level.
Also, but you can be a customer. Do you want to start part-time, full-time, or all in? So they just saw this on the tool.
And there's no option that says I'm not interested. There's literally no option for that. So they're kind of forcing you to pick one, and that's just feels like an eye roll to me.
Right? They just saw these packs on the tour, the House of Brands packs, the essentials, pack and all of that, the all-in pro pack. Okay,
essential
so now I'm gonna ask them,
oils.
where do you see yourself starting? And they're gonna say, well, see, I've got about $200 or whatever, so I think I'm gonna do the full-time pack. I think I'm gonna come in as an executive. Okay, fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get your order in. They can do that because they were just on the tour. Place your first order, and we're gonna set up your business. We're gonna get your business started. I'm gonna guide them into setting up their business. That's the vocabulary that I'm gonna use. Oops, skip one.
Why is there no part of this sales pitch where they tell them about the cost of? They've never at one point in this process talked about the investment cost that it actually takes to run a business. They've talked about how much cheaper it is than starting a $100,000 or buying into a $100,000 restaurant franchise, but they've never said, what amount of money do you want to make per month? Is it 500? Okay. You need to work 20 hours per week and you need to spend, or you need to sell around, I don't know, $1,200 a month to make, I'm not good at math, 16 no, $1,700 a month, and then you'll profit $500 that you're looking for, or whatever. So that's 80 hours a month. That's $1,700 a month in sales, and you're gonna profit $500. They never go into that detail. They just go into detail on how to get the person to sign up, and they're leaving a lot out.
Hold on, go back. There we go. After they join. Now, why is this in a recruiting video? We just recruited them because let me tell you, you're not done with this person after they join the business. You need to follow up to complete this duplication process. Okay. So after they join, when can we get on the phone to get your business set up? Now they're probably going to want to get on the phone with you because you're the guide, you're the mentor, you're the leader that's going to teach them how to succeed in this industry, right? So they're going to be more interested, I should say, in getting on a phone call with you. So when can we get on the phone? I have 2 options available. All right, we're going to do your business launch call Thursday, whatever. Thursday comes around, tomorrow comes around, next 20 minutes comes around, whenever the appointment is you set. Again, because you want to introduce yourself as a leader, especially if you didn't get on the phone with them previously. And on this call, you're going to say, there's 2 things we need to do to get set up here. One, you're going to watch the Launch Your Business video by Josh Zwagil. He's the founder and CEO of the company.
That's her husband, Josh Zwagil. And I think, Lori, you were telling me that her husband founded. Did her husband found? She started in My Daily Choice. Her husband is My Daily Choice. Okay, got it. Yep.
Going to be a video on this and your training in your back office. Number 2, you're going to watch the 10 Steps to Recruiting Mastery video by Jenna Zwagil. You're going to watch a video that you're watching right now. Do you see how this duplicates? It's a circle of life, okay? And because you want them to learn this information so that they can get started right away and get off to the right foot, okay? I'm going to tell them on this call that you need to start making your list of 25 people. Make a list of 25 names with their contact info.
List of 25 people with their contact info of who you'd like to share this opportunity with. Why is there no slide on how to sell product to other people?
Of who you'd like to share this opportunity with. Who else do you know that's a teacher that needs to also make extra income during summer months? Who else do you know that's a truck driver that needs to make money while on the road? Who else do you know fit into their life? Remember, we're all about customizing this opportunity for them. Who else do you know that also needs what you need? Oh man, well, I got a lot of truck driver friends. Oh yeah, all my friends are teachers. Okay, fantastic. All my friends are nurses. Fantastic. Build a list. And I'm going to teach you how to approach this list so that we can get your business built the right way. So there's 3 steps to duplication. 1, we got to master recruiting. Number 2, you're going to recruit 5 at full time and you're going to hit 1K affiliate. 3, we're going to help 50 people hit 1K affiliate. And now you're a 50K affiliate. What happens when you hit 50K affiliate? The email feature unlocks in your back office. Now you can email your team, you can reach out, you can schedule times to build with your team that needs a little extra help or whatever. Now you have access to emailing.
3 steps to duplication. 1, master recruiting. 2, recruit 5 at full time and hit 1,000 affiliate. Help 50 people hit 1,000. Does this benefit the company more? Or does this benefit you more? You as in the person signing up for this opportunity. Because it sure looks like it benefits the company to have all these people buying product.
On your team. You also get to become the leader on the video in the tour. Now your pretty face is on the video. Now you're the leader. So you hit 50K affiliate. So that is the duplication process. You notice I'm not talking about 5K, 10K, 25K. No, because we're in recruiting mode in our business until we get to 50K and even after 50K, because this is just so much fun. Why would you stop? But 50K affiliate, now you're the leader. We're duplicating this process all over again. I hope this makes a lot of sense to you guys. I put some time and thought into this based on the conversations I was having with you guys. And I am so excited that you guys now have the tools to become wildly successful in My Daily Choice. Thank you so much for hopping on today. And I will see you guys on our next training. Have a good one. See you guys.
Okay. What the hell did we just watch? I don't think that all of her recommendations were trash. I find it very off-putting to see the calculated and strategic manipulation and training people on how to construct these conversations where it always leads to you talking about the income opportunity, addressing the issues that they see in their own life and things that they want in their own life, and making whatever you're selling, whatever opportunity you're selling, meet those desires that they have. And there's no real meat in telling them the level of work that it costs to the level of work, the level of time that it takes to make the money they're looking to make, the $50 a month or the $300 a month or the $500 a month, because it certainly costs more than the initial product pack or whatever it is. It's to make the 500, or, and I don't know their specific compensation plan in MDC or HempWorx, but it costs a lot of more money in terms of the volume, and the volume might be a generic, their word might be something different, and the time. It's not, and she didn't say it was just part time, but I have a hard time imagining that this conversation doesn't go, hey, it doesn't take as much time as you think. And she even said this will fit into pockets of time, and you can do this while you're driving your truck. You can do this while you're being a teacher. You can do this while you're being a mom. And is that actually the truth? My dad has built a few companies, and he I would say had worked sometimes 24, 48, 36-hour days where he wouldn't go to sleep. He'd be at the office trying to get through a big project, trying to get through a big trial. And he said something pretty insightful on our last live where he hasn't ever seen an opportunity where you don't have to work an incredible amount of hours and spend money up front to get that opportunity. And you have to do that for a consistently, sometimes long period of time before it pays out. And all these promises that are being made in these pitches or in these trainings make it seem so easy and that you don't have to put in that much money. And that's just not accurate. And then people get into something that they weren't expecting because they weren't told about the reality of what you have to do in it. And that's manipulative. It's manipulative for their own personal benefit, because when you have someone sign up under you, you get a financial either bonus or you get a percentage or whatever that looks like, whatever multi-level marketing company you're a part of. Just tell the truth. It would benefit anyone in multi-level marketing to have a better conversation on the front end to stop as much turnover as it's going on right now. And that's coming from someone who does not like multi-level marketing. I do not. I do not like it. And lying, and I would say a lie of omission is still a lie. Not telling people what to expect just to get them to say yes, that's deceptive. It's manipulative, and I'm going to keep calling it out when I see it, and I hope other creators here on YouTube are as well. And if you're watching this video as someone thinking about joining an MLM or who is in the MLM, and you're wondering why the math is not adding up, it might be because you were sold a bill of goods that doesn't exist. And I would just recommend do a profit and loss statement. Don't continue losing money every month. Understand your compensation plan forward and backwards, and realize that every purchase you make to your company, your upline gets a percentage off of. And so take that with a grain of salt in how you take suggestions and recommendations from your upline, because all of your activity financially benefits them. I am so happy those who could join me tonight. I hope you learned a little bit from that training. It was certainly eye-opening to go through it bit by bit. I'm really excited to continue to learn how to create better and educate better as I spend more time on this platform. And I hope to see you next time. If you liked this video, I would love for you to do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, so next time I post a video, you'll be alerted. I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.